Good evening, lamb chops. It is I, your favorite fluffy vampire, Booma. Hi, hi, hi. Oh, hi, oh, hi. How will fit? How muffin? Ha. Alright, y'all ready for this? It's been a second since we've been able to, like, read the chapter. How we doing? Yeah, how we doing? How's everybody doing? Eating? Nice. Hi, Rusu. Double murder special today? I don't know, man. Yeah, let's see. What happened last time? We killed Satoko's uncle, hid the body, and then got a ride home from... Oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. The nurse lady, who may or may not have murdered the photographer. And we're just like, I won't say nothing if you don't say nothing. We didn't see each other tonight, okay? That's about where we left off. Let's load it up. Chapter 11. We definitely did, but Keiichi is too exhausted to put two and two together. It's true. It's true. So yeah, we'll see if there's any more murder, or if life's just gonna go back to normal, and we're gonna get 5 chapters of just, you know, nice, sweet slice of life in the school again. Yeah? Yeah. It's possible, right? Very, so possible. Okay. At first, I thought it was a dream. Yeah, definitely it's gonna go back to normal. 100% back to normal. Especially in a Higurashi visual novel. Well, you know. Oh, don't you know? I was staring at the strange sheet, not really understanding what it was. That was all. I didn't go after it, nor did I ridicule it. The fact was that the boring view was the ceiling of my very own room, but I didn't realize that for a very long time. Yeah. I thought I had been dreaming, but I had actually been staring at the ceiling the whole time. I mean, it does go back to normal after each book. Hey, he ain't wrong. Wolfit ain't wrong. Lethargy induced by the voices of the cicadas. Even after I realized I was awake, I couldn't draw forth the energy to sit up. Everything I could see, everything I could hear, everything was like a television broadcast that had already ended. It was hot. So hot I could choke on the heat. My back was moist with night sweats, and it felt gross. Unable to endure it any longer, I tossed in my futon, and finally blood started coursing through my brain. I lazily recalled the long day I had yesterday. Technically correct, that's the best kind. The reality, as I lay there listening to the voices of the cicadas, and yesterday, so different from it. In order to kill Satoko's uncle, I had rehearsed, formulated a plan, and dug a hole. It was very hot, and I was tired, wasn't I? And when evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. I panicked for a moment when he asked where the police station was, but it worked out. And then I awaited him and swooped down. I couldn't remember any more of the sort of emotions I'd let control my body. In any case, it didn't go smoothly, but I did it. It was very hard to dig a hole for that body. The feel of the rain pelted down on me. I don't think I'll ever forget it. The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. The sensation of floundering in a swamp. When I met Takano-san on the way home, that wasn't good, no matter how I interpreted it. It was the most misfortunate and uncalculated thing that had happened that night. Everything would have been perfect if only I hadn't encountered her. I was just riding my bike, with my shovel in one hand, through the downpour, utterly soaked. There was no way someone could surmise I was murdering and burying a body just from that information. Imagine if he got the wrong person. Everything would have been perfect, bro. How far were you from your home again? It's true. We definitely got lost. I don't know if Keiichi's doing his signature move, the cope. Now that I was thinking calmly, napping under the morning sun, that's what I thought. Still, The more I think about Takano-san's eyes, it seemed like she understood. Takano-san. She knew that I'd killed someone, buried them, and that I'd been on my way home, exhausted. Takano-san wouldn't gain anything from selling me out to the police, but that didn't mean I could feel at ease. I should have killed her. I'd crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back, and I'd finally achieved it as a result. But now, for the rest of my life, for all the tranquil days starting today, I'd have to live in fear of when they would suddenly end. I may have twisted my ankle, dulled from total exhaustion. The fact that I couldn't make a snap judgment I needed to, I regretted it more and more as time went on. You didn't have a choice, Keiichi Maibara. You didn't have any choice at the time. You were tired. You were a mess. Even if you had made that decision, you might not have been able to kill her. She might have just beaten you instead. In that sense, parting ways uneventfully could have been a safer option. No matter how sharp Takano-san's intuition was, she had no proof. Her suspecting me didn't amount to evidence by itself. Logically, I know that. But that doesn't mean I have nothing to worry about, does it? Just worry about it when the time comes. Now isn't the time to be worrying. It's the time to be smiling, right? You accomplished so much just to gain a new life starting today, didn't you? Then you should be happy at this new morning. If remembering the past is too hard for you, then just consider everything up to yesterday as having never happened. You said so yourself. You'd bury it all like it never happened. Well, your wish came true. Everything before you yesterday has never happened. So be happy, Keiichi Maibara. Yay! I snuck up my hands lazily. It felt a little silly for me to be the one doing it. I heaved a sigh from deep in my belly. That sigh got my lungs moving. It felt like I hadn't been breathing until just now. It wasn't enough to admonish myself over. All the dice that could be thrown had already been. And the numbers that turned up, they weren't bad at all. If I lost those numbers, then I'd just have to give up, I guess. I grabbed the chest of my pajamas and flapped it back and forth. Cool air flowed over my sweating body. Okay. Nothing before yesterday happened. Nothing. Nothing at all. Keiichi found out how to produce his very own copium. Fucking for real. Yeah, just be happy. I'd forget it all. Yesterday was a dream. What time was it? About midday? Getting myself up and going to school this late seemed kind of absurd, but I needed to go. I felt like going to school would be the first step into my peaceful new life. I didn't care how late it was, I would go. I'd go to school right now and get back to the life I'd retaken as soon as I could. My lazy body immediately became lighter at the thought. I rolled up out of the futon, bounced onto my knees, and leapt upright. Nice. Stuck the landing. I stick out my chest with pride like a gymnast, strike a pose, and take a deep breath of fresh air. The brisk morning air had been gone for a while, replaced with the crisp air of the summer. I got a bad feeling about this. What do you mean, Risu? Forget about the badness. Deep breath, relax, and have a happy day. Downstairs, I got a stern talking to by my mother. Where were you last night? When did you get back? You need to tell me when you won't be home for dinner, things like that. Considering the importance of what had been accomplished yesterday, a little scolding was no problem. In fact, it even felt like the sort of thing that would happen in such a peaceful life. I listened with an irresponsible smile and stepped out into the sun high overhead. It was around the time the lunch break would be ending. Everyone would probably be worrying about me. I didn't go to the festival, and now I wasn't at school. Well, maybe they weren't too worried about it. Since they would have gotten a small piece of news, but a happy one, from Satoko today. Yes, that small piece of news. That her uncle hadn't come home last night. Satoko would probably live her days in a nervous tension for a while, thinking he might still come home. But eventually, those days would end. And finally, Satoko, too, would realize her uncle was never coming back. And then Rika-chan would quietly invite her. She would say, "You can live with me again." And everything would be back to normal. Our lives would go back to how they were before that man appeared. Satoko would start wearing that extraordinary smile, complete with those protruding canines, and fool everyone with those traps she was so proud of. I'd probably be her first target out of everyone, but I wouldn't be mad. In fact, I might actually shed tears of joy at the return of something so normal. Satoko. She'd gradually grown back into that meddlesome personality of hers. I mean, my lack of useful life skills was already completely exposed. I wondered if I'd ever be a match for Satoko. But that would be such a pleasant thing to see, too. And with such warm, fuzzy predictions, I didn't feel bad for going to school so late. In fact, I wanted to run there now, get there as soon as I could. Instead, I decided to savor the peacefulness of just going to school like normal without running. The world I obtained for myself, that gave me joy just by walking like this. Yeah, the world beginning on this very day was something I had won. Without that monumental feat yesterday, I would never have been able to come to school so cheerfully today. The school gate came into sight. Just then I heard the principal ringing the bell to mark the end of a lunch break. It was clear, a refreshing sound. I stopped despite myself and let myself take it in. Tap. I'd stopped suddenly. So there was an extra footstep. With a noise. The blessedness I was feeling throughout my whole body withdrew into any pore it could find. And as if to replace it, I felt like hundreds of hairy caterpillars were climbing up my feet. I turned back. Of course nobody was there. A single footstep could have easily been my imagination, but the footstep felt so ominous. That extra footstep I had heard after seeing Takato-san off last night. With everything that happened on that insane night, I didn't mind something like that happening once. It had been a hell of a night after all. In fact, having just one hallucination was pretty fortunate. But those footsteps should have ended with yesterday, so why am I hearing them again? There was really only one thing it could have meant. Last night still wasn't over. It was still going. Still. That insane night, forever. The step I heard, just that one extra footstep, was quietly ridiculing the nonsensical notion that the world starting today was completely different from the one that ended yesterday. My classmates playing in the schoolyard all vanished inside like the tide going out. When I approached the school, it felt like that warm, fuzzy scene had ended, and I didn't feel good. At the entrance, I took a quick look into everyone's shoeboxes. Satoko Hojo. She was here. Mion was here. And Reina, too, of course. Even Rika-chan was here. Tomita-kun, Okamura-kun were here. In fact, I didn't see any missing classmates. If there were shoes missing, they would have been my own. I took my shoes off and stuck them in, then took out some slippers. There wasn't a single pair left in the shoeboxes anymore. With that, they returned to their rightful state. But as I stepped onto the wooden floor, I noticed that there was one pair of slippers left. Huh? Who was Satoshi Hojo? Satoshi, who had never been to our school since disappearing last year. Until now, he had committed the exact act of violence, but I guess at the very end it went differently. You couldn't make it to school, but here I am. I didn't repeat the same mistake you made. I wasn't about to let myself feel superior about that. In fact, I felt an odd sense of familiarity with him. A misfortunate bond. With someone I'd never met, due to following the same fate. I headed down the hallway towards the usual classroom. It felt like it had been a whole year since coming here. Hey, did you forget Keiichi Maibara? Satoshi Hojo didn't really disappear on the night of Watsunagashi, did he? Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days later. On Satoko's birthday, if I was right. I didn't know what day it was, but I couldn't say for sure I'd avoided Satoshi's failure unless I remained here past that day. I was still living in the night of insanity. The teacher still hadn't come to the classroom. The other door clattered open, and one teacher wouldn't use, so everyone turned at once to see who had arrived. Everyone looked pretty vacant. Suppose I'll greet him. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you all for coming all the way out here today. Silence. When I started to think I'd fallen flat, someone finally started laughing for me.
Good morning, Kei-chan. You're pretty energetic today.
Yeah, energetic. Maybe you haven't gotten out of that festive mood yet, how? Hearing Mion and Rainbow's cheerful voices made me realize how dumb those dark feelings had been, having at the entrance really were. Hey now, festive mood? I wasn't at the festival at all, remember? Before I could say that, Rika-chan smiled at me. Keiichi, did you make sure to watch my dance? Yeah, he saw it just fine. Didn't you see how big of an applause he gave you? And he ignored it when the blockhead Shion came up and made a pass at him. Take that, Shion. Wow, that felt good. Mion starts laughing at the memory as she slaps him in the back a few times. So, how did that target practice contest turn out in the end? Tomita-kun was facing me and talking. There was nobody behind me. That meant he was talking to me? Tomitake turned up dead last. Everyone had a good time with his punishment game. Weren't you supposed to be the one that in last place, Rika-chan? It was such a turnaround when you pulled off getting that chewing gum. I should have expected that from a member of my club. It was fantastic. Crying at a time like that is the feat only a Furude could be allowed to do, said Okamura-kun, breathing heavily from his nose, in my direction. Everyone laughed. If anyone but Rika-chan had done it, it would have been against the rules. Rika-chan gave one of her Nippon smiles as she listened to it, in my direction. Rina too turned towards me. And then with a somewhat embarrassed smile, she whispered to me so only I could hear. But really, thanks, Keiichi-kun. Nippon, yeah. For what? That giant stuffed animal. I was really happy. It's nice and safe, right at my bedside. And I made sure to give it a goodnight kiss before I went to bed, too. Oh. The class laughed at that, cheering and jeering. This whole time, the conversation had been a little bit off. I wasn't quite getting it. What's this? About a stuffed animal? What's this? Come on! We all worked really hard at the festival yesterday to get it down, remember? The gigantic stuffed animal. The gigantic stuffed animal? Rina seemed taken aback, but when she answered, she did it with a smile. Got a homie playing Star Trek while I narrate the Wicked Vision novel? Awesome. Hell yeah. We were having a hard time knocking it over, so we tried aiming at the forehead and rapid fire shooting and stuff. And then, Keiichi-kun, you got a whole bunch of guns ready beforehand and shot them all. It was so cool, how? Wait, what's this? All the people in the neighborhood association, including the chairman, were praising you for so much of the party afterwards. One of them said he'd fallen in love with your way with words. Tokozu Kimiyoshi? You know, the chairman, children's committee, I think? He said he wanted you to trust you with a few of the stalls in the next festival. Tokozu is the chair of the refreshment booth. He's on the festival executive committee. My Baro-san is great at making these things sound good, isn't he? Yep. Whenever he talks about something, it seems a lot better than it actually is. You can't say that. Keiichi-kun, you'd be a great salesman. If you did a bargain sale on bananas or something, I bet you'd be so great. What have you been talking about? I mean, I didn't go to the festival in the first place. I swallowed those words. I didn't know exactly why, but in Hinamizawa, this is what had happened. Yesterday, during the Watanagashi festival, Keiichi Maibara had appeared, and he had romped about with all his usual members in his club. He made a big scene at a few of the stalls, snatched a few sticks of takoyaki and okonomiyaki in his glee, rating each of them as delicious or terrible to get everyone excited. And they'd seen a gigantic stuffed animal at the target practice game, and everyone went after it. And then I got a whole bunch of cork guns, firing them in rapid succession, throwing each one away after using it. So cool. Yep, I know they're delusional. Okay, so I think Keiichi Maibara had too much copium. We'll see. And then I gave the stuffed animal the proof of my victory to Reina as a gift. Then our fun came to a close as we had to go see Rika-chan's offertory dance. There was a ton of people squeezed in there, and we all got separated, but each managed to get in good position to cheer Rika-chan on from. Then in the middle, when Shion came and asked me to go hang out with her instead of watching the dedication dance, I refused. Stayed put, watching the dance until the very end. But who? Who was that? Well, everyone's been saying it, haven't they? Keiichi Maibara. I had an urge to yell in anger at my classmates for having so much fun talking about the festival yesterday with a Keiichi Maibara. What the hell are you guys even talking about? Far stronger than that feeling, though, was the sheer uncanny nature of this reality I couldn't understand. A Keiichi Maibara who wasn't me was in Hinamizawa yesterday. As I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon, and I was busy beating Satoko's uncle to death. I was having a great time at the festival last night. What the hell? I had to suffer through so much, desperately holding back tears, getting so worn out. In that downpour, digging holes, chasing, beating, killing, dragging and burying. Who was this Keiichi Maibara who had ignored me so and spent so much fun, a carefree time at that festival? Damn it! Who the hell stood in for me as I put my life on the line, working so hard to achieve this treasure-like everyday life? There was one other Keiichi Maibara besides me, then what was I? On the night of Watsunagashi, where one died and one disappeared, in accordance with Oyashiro-sama's curse, there was only a demon who had killed someone. Dumbfounded, as I succumbed to the horrifying possibility, I looked around at my classmates. To make sure there was nobody extra I didn't recognize among them. To make sure I wasn't among them. It was a horrifying thought. That the real Keiichi Maibara hadn't overslept and had come to school on time. And that I, who was no longer Keiichi Maibara, had just waltzed in here. But no matter how much I checked, the only people here were ones I knew. The man I met every time I looked in the bathroom mirror was not here. Okay, everyone. Time to start afternoon classes. Please take your seats. President, please lead the class. The teacher entered and everyone hurried back to their seats. Upon finding me, who was stupidly late, she gave me a stern talking to, but I wasn't listening to it. Wasn't our old life supposed to start today? Something wasn't right. It was just so strange. I was supposed to go back to my old fun life after yesterday. I had set foot in an incomparably mysterious world that was completely different from both my old life and the recent one. Yes, this was, without a doubt, a different world than the one I'd been living in until now. There was no way such an absurd thing could be possible. It got me wondering if this explains how Mion was supposedly in two places at the same time at the end of her arc. Ooh. There was no way such an absurd thing could be possible. But, unless it was true, I couldn't explain anything that just happened. In this classroom, I was surrounded by so many faces I knew, and yet I felt so isolated. The cicadas sounded no different than they had before me now, but they seemed somehow false. The air was parched and dry, too, making me think, was the air in Hinamizawa always this uncomfortable? Hey, Reina.
What is it?
We're in class. About the festival yesterday. About... when would you say I got there? To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards, and I gobbled down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For random babbling, it wasn't a bad excuse.
Keiichi-kun,
You said you couldn't come at first, didn't you? You called Michan's house about it, right? Yeah, that matched. I called Mion and told her to take Satoko in my place since I wouldn't have been able to meet up with them, do the things I had to do. We all decided while we were setting up for the festival that we'd invite Satoko-chan. We wanted to bring her to some place where she couldn't see her uncle for a little while. That was the same. Mion said that when I called her, that everyone had already decided to invite her. And then we all went. Me, Mi-chan, and Rika-chan to Satoko-chan's house and brought her out. Satoko-chan's uncle seemed like a really mean person. That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was... when did I meet up with you?
How could you forget that? Keiichi-kun, I think you shouldn't be drinking until you're an adult.
Whatever. When did I meet up with you?
Well...
At my sudden threatening demand, Reina was at a loss for words. Oops, I guess I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry. It was at the shrine grounds. It was unexpected. You were talking to Rika-chan, weren't you?
Yep. You were having a fun talk with Rika-chan in her shrine maiden outfit. And then Reina came up and said, "Howl, I'm taking you home."
I was talking to Rika-chan? And I asked, "Kei-chan, didn't you have something you needed to do today?" Then you pounded your chest and said it yourself. That letting loose at the festival was more important than some silly errand. I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine grounds yesterday to begin with. I never had the time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig the hole as soon as I woke up. I had a pretty hard time doing it. And after that, I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait. And then it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have came to a halt. In other words, it ended then. From the time the festival started to when it ended. It would have been impossible for me to have swung by the shrine grounds. This would also explain the previous books. Characters had psycho mode personality flip out of nowhere. I wonder if there's also like a psycho mode drug or something going along with the copium. Suddenly turned into a hangover, need home. Oh my god. Like in the first book, where Keiichi had Flip, though he couldn't remember anything after he didn't like this time. I like how you guys are actually getting closer. I'm very proud of you. Such little detectives. I'm so proud of my lamb chops. I was already there when Mion and the others dragged Satoko out and brought her to the shrine. And I was talking to Rika-chan? Then where would Rika-chan say we met? The teacher went out to wash her hands, so I ran over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly. With you? Yeah. We were talking to each other before Mion and the others got there, right? When did we see each other? When and where?
I don't know what you're trying to ask.
I drank so much beer I lost some of my memories. I don't remember a thing. It looked like Rika-chan bought onto my babbling.
Oh, we saw each other when the mayor and the others came out of the assembly hall. You were in front of the ritual implement storehouse.
Huh? What? The ritual implement storehouse? I'd never heard of a building called that before. Or maybe I have, but at the very least, I wouldn't know where the shrine grounds it was.
The mayor got really angry at you, since you shouldn't go near the holy places without authority, remember? Keiichi, did you forget that too?
I was too scared to ask anymore. The more I asked, the more it became clear without any doubt that Keiichi Maibara was present at the Furude Shrine grounds during the Watanagashi festival. The clearer that became, the more doubts, no, fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place, and managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there. Oh, right. When did that person leave everyone? He's actually time traveling. Satoshi did the same thing, and that's why he's disappearing after a few days. Ooh. That's a cool one. That's a cool idea. He's actually just a Flash. You're getting closer? Yeah, I gotta fix that. I need to get further from the truth. Oh my god. This morning, my mother got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night, which meant that at the very least that Keiichi Maibara hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have closed because of the downpour. If I recall right, when I went back to the house storage room and get the other shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had no choice but to close down before 7. If I hadn't returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. Or at the very least, they wouldn't have asked me when I got back last night. So the Keiichi Maibara from yesterday, that meant he never went home. And that meant the downpour happened, the festival was broken up, and everyone left. But he didn't go back to the house. That means... When I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze my spine and climbed up into my brain. That meant Keiichi Maibara was the same as Satoshi. One day, he never went home. On the night of Watanagashi, he never went home. The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with the corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Keiichi Maibara. Keiichi Maibara was me. There may have been another one, but that doesn't negate the fact that I was Keiichi Maibara. Then, the other Keiichi Maibara was that. The voices of cicadas suddenly filling the classroom were beginning to bother me. Suddenly, I laid eyes on Satoko. Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted. At a life of agony she couldn't even imagine an ending to. Pure luck and not deduction with being closer to truth. I didn't even get to watch the last books. Oh. Or it's just Muffin. I don't know. Yeah, just go ahead and be ridiculous. It's good. It's good. Keiichi went full quantum and was in a superposition of murder and not murdering. Oh my god. Considering I'll have plenty of time to finally catch up and watch all the books properly since Bloom is gonna have me. It's true. It's true. You'll have a few days, even this week, because tomorrow will be my last stream for like almost 2 weeks. Almost. Oh boy, Risu's asking the questions. Here we go. What had last night been like for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and feel a little happier, if even for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably gone to sleep, afraid her uncle would return. And then, this morning, her uncle hadn't come back. And then she went to school. Right now, she must have been still trapped by that rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved. That her uncle would need her when she got back. But you can. Rest easy, Satoko. Your uncle won't ever be coming back. I couldn't tell her it was because I'd killed him. When Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, that would truly be the end of a long, insane night. That's right. I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoko's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. And look, calm down and think, Keiichi Maibara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient that there's another Keiichi Maibara? I buried the corpse perfectly. A beginning wouldn't happen. But if worst came to worst and it got out, and the investigation got to me, I now had a strong alibi, able to profess the fact that I had been at Watanagashi Festival. But accepting something so creepy and using it as an alibi. Still, if I proved I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it would do no good and a whole lot of harm. That was what left a really, actually bad aftertaste. You forget about it, Keiichi Maibara. Everything that happened before today. So just forget. About the Keiichi Maibara who was there yesterday, too. If it's really a doppelganger thing and not characters, then that means I might have been right with trusting Mion in the first book. You guys remember? Wasn't Reina the one who went crazy? Yeah, Reina was the one who went kind of bonkers in book 1. Oh no, the detective would know. Or Reina, whatever. One of the twins. Mion and Shion are the twins. Shion didn't show up in the first book. If you guys are talking about like the second book, where you were trying to figure out if it was Shion or Mion in certain scenes, yeah, that's where the twins are. Yeah, Muffin's right. Shion was only introduced in the second book. Instead, let's watch gently over Satoko for the day her smile returns. And that day, that would mark the end of this insane, all too long night. That's all for today, class. Please go straight home tonight, okay? President, if you would. Everybody stand. Attention. Bow. Goodbye. I thought about many things and saw my thoughts disappear by many other things. I didn't know whether or not that the time had been spent worrying or daydreaming, but either way, it came to an end along with class. Cheerfully, our classmates got their things and ran for the hallway. Mion, Reina, and Rika-chan were all packing up as well. What about Satoko? This whole day, she'd seemed deflated. Well, her uncle may not have returned last night, but she wouldn't have known he'd never return. How much I wanted to express that fact to her. Satoko packed up her pencil box and math workbook messily, and after a dark glance at the clock, heaved a sigh. Then went to leave the classroom. Then suddenly, somebody placed a hand on her shoulder and stopped her.
What is it? I watered the plants like I was supposed to, and I got the printouts done.
Her words possessed by a persecution complex hurt. I spoke loudly so everyone could hear. Hey everyone! Why don't we have club today? It's been a while. Satoko was always had to tend to her uncle, so club had been a hiatus. In our minds, our club was proof of a calm, peaceful life. By enjoying being together, I wanted to make Satoko realize her days of darkness were over.
I'm okay. I'll do it. Meep.
Well, I mean, I don't mind. If it's okay with Satoko. Under a condition. That was important. With everything up to her, Satoko gave a worried look. Come on, Satoko, it's been a while. Let's go crazy.
Well, I'm happy you feel that way, but my uncle might already be home.
Thus spoke her darkened eyes, her mouth unmoving. You've been choking on life every day for a while, and you're about to suffocate. It's not good for your mind or your body. Once in a while, you gotta have some fun.
Please, leave it alone. It's not like I don't want to do club again.
With one word, but. She looked down. Satoko, you know as well as anyone that it's more fun being with everyone, right? We're friends. That means we can spend time with each other. I mean, you had such a great time at the festival yesterday with everyone, didn't you? Reina nearly said something, but it was too late.
Keiichi-san, what are you saying?
My arm on her shoulder seemed to weigh her down. She threw it off.
When exactly was I playing and having fun at that festival? The only one having fun was you, Keiichi-san.
Huh? Looked over at Mion for help, but now everyone was looking down. My instincts told me that Satoko hadn't gone to the festival. But Reina said it herself, that she went with Mion to Satoko's house and invited her.
Satoko-chan left on the way there. She didn't go to the shrine.
Why? I realized the absurdity of what I just said with Satoko right in front of me. She said her uncle was waiting at home and she couldn't have fun by herself. When we were in front of the shrine,
We tried to stop her, too. We told her that our uncle said it was okay, that he couldn't get mad if she had a good time.
At some point, tears had begun welling up in Satoko's eyes. Satoko was so afraid of her uncle that she couldn't even allow herself time with her friends and went home. No, she was even afraid of letting herself have a good time with her friends.
Keiichi-san, you must have it nice. Having a blast at the festival all night. They told me you went out, didn't you? I'm very envious.
Smiling to herself, her tears began to fall.
I must provide for my uncle. It's completely different from you, and how you let your parents do everything.
Satoko.
I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself at the festival. I'm so glad you had enough fun for me, too. I mean, I want to participate in club, too. Making such a racket with everyone is so much fun. But right now I can't. I can't.
Unable to withstand such violent emotion, a few teardrops slid down her cheeks. But even though she was having such a terrible time, not once did she ever say that it was hard for her. It was a sad, obstinate bravery. But the days when Satoko had to feel like that were over. Satoko didn't need to endure it, to bear it anymore. She could forget all about it now and smile. I was so frustrated not being able to tell her that directly. Instead, I said something that I'm not sure I should have said. Before I thought about it twice. He didn't come home, did he? The words were deeply meaningful to me, but I didn't know if Satoko understood them.
Didn't come home? Who?
He didn't come home last night, did he? Your uncle.
What are you talking about, Keiichi-san?
Satoko shouted with all her might. When has he not... Oh, sorry.
When has he not been there? When? When?
Calm down. I mean, he didn't come home yesterday, did he?
I don't understand what you're trying to say, Keiichi-san.
Satoko, what are you talking about? I mean, that man, I killed him. Killed him yesterday. Killed him for sure. And I buried him. Buried him whole. He could never have returned to the house.
Even yesterday, he was torturing me so much. He yelled at me. He shouted at me. He found fault everything I did. He threw the dinner I made him on the floor. He dumped his bowl of miso soup on me, too. It was hot. It was messy. And I cleaned all of it up. I cleaned all of it.
Crying, screaming noises. Oh, that is a bad question, Keiichi, right? What? Our stories, they weren't matching up. The night? And this morning, when he woke up to make him breakfast. Oh, shit.
And this morning, when he woke up to make me breakfast, he got so mad at me. He would have gotten mad at me whether I'd gotten up or not.
Satoko. Rika-chan went over Satoko and said a few words of consolation, but Satoko angrily refused those words and thrust Rika-chan away.
Nini! Nini! Come back! Come back!
Crying, Satoko slowly walked out into the hallway. After a moment, Rika-chan went after her. I couldn't stop thinking about the words Satoko had been spoken while crying. I buried her uncle last night, but she said this morning. That was impossible. I buried him last night. He couldn't have seen her uncle this morning. What was Satoko? At that point, I heard Mion's cold voice. Hey, Kei-chan. What do you mean about Satoko's uncle? I said too much. I let my emotions get the better of me.
Reina heard it too. You said Satoko's uncle didn't come home.
Why? Why didn't he come home?
That's strange. Satoko-chan's uncle was right there this morning, wasn't he? So why would you say he hadn't come back? Come back?
Kei-chan, you've been saying weird things for a while. Suddenly, Mion and Reina started to speak in strange, creepy voices. What were they doing? What were they saying? Kei-chan, is it somehow inconvenient for you for Satoko's uncle to be around you?
No. What are you talking about?
Oh, say, no, what are you talking about? Of course it would be better if Satoko's uncle wasn't here.
Yep. That's true, of course. If only he wasn't here, right?
Something wasn't right. The next thing I knew, Mion and Reina were smiling thinly. Their eyes were dark and muddy, in a way that I'd never seen before. And as our eyes met, that mud seemed to fill the air. Satoko's uncle is an awful person, no doubt. I think we'd all be better off with him gone just as much as you do. But he's here, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? Nothing we can do? Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong here. What the hell is happening? After a moment, a chilly liquid-like feeling, as though my blood had been mixed with sherbet, crawled up into my spine. No choice. I mean, of course there isn't, but then Satoko will never.
If there's no choice, what would you do?
Reina was trying to prompt me to say more. There really was no choice, so I killed him. I killed him to protect Satoko. That's... Leave him alone. I think things will resolve themselves soon enough.
Satoko-chan said her uncle was here, so he's here. He was here yesterday and he's here today.
So she said so.
So it's fine, right? Right?
Speech negative 35. Mion! Yeah, fuck yeah, Mion. Got me wondering if Keiichi has been transported to his own personal hell. Oh my god. Risu thinks he knows the future. Yeah, that'll happen. Even why the uncle's alive. Because he killed someone from another reality. Ooh, that's a cool idea. Mion and Reina were speaking unbelievably dismissively. How could they be talking like that? Mion and Reina, they were my friends, and were seriously worried about Satoko's abuse, weren't they? They would never blurt out something like this. And I definitely killed Satoko's uncle. No matter what Satoko or anyone else says, I wouldn't be acknowledging it because him being alive was impossible. There is no way he is alive. Let me get a sip. It was impossible. And yet, since Satoko herself said he was here, then he must be alive. I didn't know why or how, but suddenly Mion and Reina were at my side, standing there silently. Let's go home, Kei-chan.
After we leave, Reina wants to go treasure hunting for the first time in a while. Mi-chan is coming too.
Kei-chan, you should come along. Of course, you're not allowed to refuse. If words could freeze blood, then there was no doubt they would have frozen me solid. I could hear it, a layer of thin ice, the sound of all my muscles tensing. And with them closely at my sides, we left the school as if there were police officers taking me away. They would never blurt out something like this. Says the one who prodded Satoko into confessing her beef, right? Ooh, Risu, you thinking Oyashiro-sama cursed him? So no hints to time loop so well. We'll see, won't we? They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did. but they always stood at my sides as if to prevent me from escaping. This is strange. Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Yeah, thinking back, it had been strange ever since killing Satoko's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. That insane night was still continuing. Yes, it still hadn't ended. What? What's wrong, Kei-chan? Why did you suddenly stop? Ah, sorry, nothing. It was nothing. When I stopped, it was distant, but I definitely heard them. An extra set of footsteps. That was proof. Proof that insane night hadn't ended. Mion left where she usually did, and finally we came to my house.
Okay, Keiichi-kun. Wait here for me. Reina will come pick you up soon.
What was it? She was inviting me along on one of them oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam site, right? But why now? Mion came along was strange too. Mion may have accepted Reina's little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage. She had never come here before. And the location specifically being the dam site, it was a little creepy. The dam construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. It was so remote that no one ever went there unless they thought to it in particular. Nobody lived there. There were no lights. So at night it got dark real quick. And I was being forcibly invited there. There was no reason I had to fear Reina or Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea. But that insane night was continuing. Oh boy. Mango's theory. Keiichi, I think you mean Keiichi, is schizophrenic. There's never been any of these people. He's been imagining it all, exploring an empty, rundown school in the woods. Oh, that's cool. I like that idea. True ending of it. Yeah, it is a cool ending. I do like that idea. Haven't the sirens of instinct been wailing in my mind for a while now? Warning me that Reina and Mion were strange. That I needed to be cautious. The warning sirens were so freaking loud it felt like my head would split in two. Reina, I actually have something to do.
Something to do? Like what?
Like, what? I just have something to do, okay?
If you had something to do, why didn't you say it while Mi-chan was here? I already told her to meet us at the dam site before we split up.
Reina was smiling, but her words made me discomfort clear. Sorry, I just kind of missed the opportunity to say so.
Really? You're lying, aren't you?
You just made that up now, liar. That's what Reina's eyes said to me. My head hurts. I might have a cold. So I wanted to get checked out and get some medicine.
Really?
That wasn't really a lie. My head did hurt a little bit, and I wasn't lying. Reina, she couldn't figure out if my head hurt or not just by looking at it.
Then I guess that's that.
After staring at me into the eyes for a few moments, she fired a sharp needle-like stare at me. The tension in my body loosened, and I felt like my knees might buckle.
If you're going to the clinic, then you should go soon. Sometimes they close early.
Thanks. I'll do just that.
Make sure you go, okay? To the hospital.
I will.
Go for real.
I will. It seemed like Reina had realized that I was going to refuse her invitation for a while now. With how serious she looked, she might actually call the clinic later to make sure I went. I couldn't say anything careless. Lying about getting checked out was just an excuse to decline her request in the first place. It didn't matter whether I actually went. Yeah, I'll go. If you want, I can bring you the bill tomorrow.
Oh, that would be good. Be sure to bring it, okay?
Reina will look at it. Another tingle started crawling up my back. There was no ignoring it. Reina and Mion must have been monitoring my movements. That wasn't normal. Far from it. Barred the school live ending. Oh my god. Bro, is Reyna suddenly his boss? Oh my god. Can't take sick day without doctor's note, right? Oh my god. Ugh, trauma. I did what I did because I wanted my peaceful life back. But what on earth was all this? It was far from peaceful. Something had gone mad, leaving the world out of order. With the other Keiichi Maibara. With those creepy footsteps I've been hearing. With Reina and Mion acting so curious. And above all, him being alive. Where was I? Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. I knew that much. Was this really Hinamizawa I knew? Hey, Keiichi Maibara, where is this? I asked, whipping around before the front door, to face the one who had been following me in my wake all day. Nobody would have been there, of course. Keiichi Maibara, huh? That's what I just called him. Called the one who had been trailing behind me this whole time. That shadowy presence, always clinging to me, like it was constantly watching for the opportunity to change places. Footsteps always following me was another impossibility. It couldn't have been a ghost, so it was just impossible. So the strangers must have been my ears, my head, or Hinamizawa. Everything I could see was the same exact Hinamizawa I knew so well, and that gave me the creeps. Eventually, I decided to actually go to the clinic. I really didn't want to go outside, but a stronger feeling than that desire was the fear that Reina might actually be keeping an eye on me to see if I went to the hospital. But before I went to the clinic, there was something I wanted to make sure of. It was at school. I pretended I'd forgotten something, and I was going back to the classroom to pick it up. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed with paranoia. I feel like we're going back in time to the first book.
Would that be funny? Would that just be funny?
The day after, he'll say his dry cleaning room. Just say, bruh. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much having to be so careful to fake it. After carefully verifying once more that nobody was watching, I went over to the locker. Yeah, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat I found in his locker, Satoshi's bat, and then I had thrown the bat into the swamp, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. But, what if that bat was still in here? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea, but if it was true, it would explain a lot. If the bat was in here, yesterday's events would have all been a delusion. No, an illusion. I hadn't killed anyone, and I'd gone to the festival. I had a great time rampaging about with everybody. It would prove that Keiichi Maibara was really me. Proof that I was only under some strange assumption that I had killed Satoko's uncle. Proof that I had been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing happened yesterday. I had just gone mad, unable to separate my shocking uncle-killing dream from reality. That would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? It's okay if it's in there, because bats are cute little sky puppies. Facts, bro. Ugh. The bat. I forgot about the bat. Oh my god. Your brain is getting massive, right? By the way, why did he even kill this uncle, like, from his perspective? He was doing it because, they had gone to the adults, they had gone to the authorities, and no one was willing to, like, step up and help Satoko, like, right away. Like, they were all giving them the same, we have to wait and see, you know, because there had been false accusations of abuse before from Satoko. So, she was under, like, a watch, you know, that, she might be crying wolf. Yeah, I mean, too long, didn't read. Keiichi killed the uncle because he was hurting Satoko and no one else was going to do anything about it. Yeah. If it was there, nothing will have changed. If it was there, it would just mean I'd gone crazy. Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening it slowly, so I just threw it open with a bang. And just like the first time, the choking scent, the smell and sweat, like a stale towel, came flowing out. There was a baseball uniform, and some miscellaneous other things, like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch. And as for the bat, it wasn't here. It was how I left it when I took the bat out. There was no doubt. Yesterday really happened. Now that I knew I wasn't a lunatic, I felt relieved. But at the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Hinamizawa was. And that was evidence of a reality I just found difficult to accept. Dun dun dun! Yeah. There was noise somehow creeping into everything I saw, and the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So, what did I know about last night now? Now that I'd made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? For real, to the hospital. It was my first time going to the hospital, but from what I'd heard, it wasn't far from school. My mom had told me where it was. A big, easy-to-see road went straight there. I went past the shopping street and made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign, Irie Clinic, written on it. There was one other person, an older man, there in the air-conditioned waiting room. I went up to the counter and told them I was the first time here. The man behind the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. Clinic hours would be ending soon. As I sat in the unfamiliar waiting room, isolated from everyone, and let myself feel the cold air, I actually felt relieved. Keiichi went to another dimension pretty soon. If we were watching a TV series, this would have been the perfect moment for a to be continued. Yeah, honestly, this far into the anime, I don't remember like where the episodes would end or not. I know for sure though, I think I talked about it, but like the first book, right? I know we read it a while ago, but if you remember, that whole book was the first 4 episodes of the anime, to give you an idea of how some of this shit ended up being. I don't hate the anime. It's fine for what it was, but also I'm a diehard fan, so I don't know if it's that good. Still though, it would be fun to watch. Bruh, right? Okay. Yeah, that'd be a fun, like, let's watch together. Like, maybe after we finish all the, how many episodes is the anime? The season 1 was 26, if I'm remembering right. They skip a lot of information. Yeah. And, like, yeah, I know that's no, like, hot take. Visual novels getting adapted into anime, you will lose a ton of shit. No questions. But also that'd be really fun if we could just have like a watch party or something. For when we finish all the question arcs, we just watch season 1. So I'm pretty sure all the season 1 anime was the question arcs. Like, it didn't solve anything. They didn't solve anything until like the 2nd or 3rd season started coming out. Oh my god, and only 4 episodes? Yeah, right? Bluma feels the same way about it as I feel about a different series. But yeah, maybe once we finish all the question arcs, I think that'd be a fun thing to do. Also, gives me an excuse to rewatch Higurashi. Oh shit. Get out of the menu. Okay. What should I tell the doctor when he comes? I could tell him I had a cold, but I was the very picture of health. I joined. I have the Blu-rays, just not the new season that was animated by the Motsugari guys. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no. I do like the newest 2 seasons. I have so many feelings about Higurashi. I love the season 1 theme. Oh yeah, no, it's a banger. Certified classic. The opening to the first season is so good. Feel the same for the manga and anime? It's true. It's true. I forget a lot of animes are just adapted from manga, so you lose some shit there too. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted someone to confirm for me whether I was really sane or not. I could hear the audible asterisk on that. Right. Love them. Asterisk. No, okay. No. Oh, it's so hard to talk about. I feel like it's fine to talk about now, right? They've been out for a few years. It's not a spoiler. So the newest 2 seasons, right? Higurashi, Go, and Sotsu. Go was originally advertised as a remake of season 1. And at the end of the first episode, we got this huge twist that was not, in fact, a remake, but it was not over. And then in Sotsu, they wrapped everything up, kind of, sort of. I don't like how Sotsu ended. Oh my god. There's like one really cool moment at the end of Sotsu, and no, it's not the moment you're thinking of if you've seen it. It's not the ending. It's the like 2 lines of dialogue they get on the train station that I'm like, oh, that's fire. But no, the episode or 2 before it, no. I don't like that's called a remake when it's so vastly different. Oh, yeah. It was clever to marketing? No, 100%. 100%. No, I love that they did that. I do. Because me, hardcore, die-hard fan, I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't care if it's a remake or whatever. I'm gonna watch it. And then it got to that moment, and I lost my fucking mind. I was so hyped. And then... But it was also cool because people who had, like, never seen it all watched that and was like, oh, wait, you mean that's not how it happened in the original? And it was just, like, really cool moment where, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, come together, guys, come together. Let's teach you about the old school to know, so you know why this shit went hard. It's like Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Brotherhood. Yes, oh my god, quit clicking the menu. Oh. Anyway. Keiichi Maibara-san? Please come into the examination room. Huh? The voice. From the other side of the examination curtain. I thought I'd heard it somewhere before. To be fair, I don't think Brotherhood was advertising itself as a remake. Yeah, I guess I don't really know how that all went down. And if I can be honest, I've only seen a little itty-bitty, like 1 or 2 episodes from Full Metal Alchemist. I've seen nothing of Brotherhood. I've been told it's a lot better and I should just watch Brotherhood. That's all I know. Oh, hey, doctor. Rolled up sleeves, a vest. Hey, what's up? You married? Oh, that's right. Sorry, he's planning to ask Satoko to marry him. I forgot we had our uh-oh moment. Had the same feeling with an anime adaptation of... Oh boy, I don't know what some of these are. Tsuiwi, and O, and then GOTY, JRPG, and Nintendo is... Ooh. In my opinion, watch like the first 20 episodes of Full Metal Alchemist, the original. Ah. Oh, okay. It's one of those. Okay, I get you. She wrote the manga, finished it, and then they're like, okay, now make the anime good. Okay. It was one of those situations. Kind of like what Black Butler's doing. Like, now that the manga's closer to ending, they're like, okay, let's restart. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood assumes you have seen the original or have read the manga. Oh, shit. No shot. Okay. Well then. Exactly. Okay. Cool. At least now I know. Rewind. Hello. This is my first time that we've seen each other here. Coach, you're a doctor? And now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he was actually a doctor. And come to think of it, our teacher called him Iri-sensei, didn't he? Alright, back to swooning over the doctor. I can't swoon over him, remember? He's like, nah, I'm gonna ask Satoko when she's old enough. Like, bro, son of a bitch, you're being weird. Well, yeah, I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors have it really good, you know? You get to see and touch all the young, silky, smooth skin. See? This is the shit I'm talking about. I could inject them with a weird chemical that would make them my slaves, and then they'd be my personal maids. I can't with the whiplash this book is giving me sometimes. What timing? I can't. God damn it. Alright, we talked about this. Okay. Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Polite bow. Whoa, wait. My Bara-san. A joke. It was a joke. Keiichi, give me that bet. Come on, sit down. Let me take a look at you. I'll need to use my stethoscope, so show me your silky smooth chest, my Bara-san. For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing he always did, and I was really happy for that. You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, those scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the most painful thing. Don't tell me you were out playing in the bushes with short sleeves and shorts. I mean, I can't say for sure that you haven't been infected with tinnitus. As I was chasing that man around last night, I kept being scraped by bits of trees. Hey, Keiichi, pass me that psycho mode drug. I didn't realize I had so many cuts. You went a little too crazy at the festival yesterday. Enjoy that while you're young. And once again, I apparently went to the festival. Coach, did you go too? To the festival? Yeah, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Watsunagashi Executive Committee. Did you see me there? This coach was the same coach that I had always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than any of my weird friends, so I asked. Well, actually, I was drinking in the main tent with the chairman and the others the whole time. I didn't go out and see the festival at all. I don't think I saw you. Oh. That was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forget what happened last night? And underage, too. You're a bad kid. Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in the unnatural way like Mion and Reina did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world. Well, this all might seem a little weird to you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Alright, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful worries you might have, and that you would come to your secondary sex character. What the fuck? Could it be possible that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all, and couldn't say anything for a moment. But then he smiled calmly and quietly answered. This is just superstition, but I've heard before that everyone has two other people in the world who look just like him. Bruh. Basically a femboy. Doc, what? Also, there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous. Doppelgangers? Yeah. They look exactly like another person. Apparently, they herald misfortune, and if you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went. When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. The story ended directly in death, plain and simple. It made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me, though. He was just offering a casual anecdote, but that made me feel all the more real. Have you ever heard of one of those things showing up in Hinamizawa? What? Well, I can't say that I have. Coach must have thought I was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. I always thought the whole identical twin thing was fake, but when I stationed in Turkey, my homies assured me they saw my double, so I guess mine's in Turkish. Oh boy. Well, at least you'll never see him then, right? I mean, I guess I don't know where you are. I assume America, like everyone else. Hell yeah. Let freedom ring. Hopefully Keiichi didn't meet his double yet. Ooh. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. I'm sorry. Well, I was sort of being serious. Yeah, you live in the tri-state? Hell yeah, America, brother. But yeah, see, you don't have to worry about meeting him. You see, he's in Turkey and you're here. Problem solved. No, I apologize for laughing. Was there something you were worried about? I wondered if I should tell him. Then after resolving myself to one final time, I spoke slowly. I didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? Well, there will be one next year, and then you can... That's not what I meant. I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that even be possible? After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully. Let me make sure I get this straight. Maibara-kun, you went to Watanagashi Festival and don't remember it, am I right? I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night, Keiichi Maibara was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. Speaking of doppelgangers, I used to be 2 quarters and now I'm done. What the fuck, Mango? The vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. All these scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat wasn't in the locker. No, that's not it, Coach. I really didn't go to the festival. Please don't take offense, Maibara-san. Have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and you couldn't remember why? No. And I don't lose my memories or anything. Because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. Bard Ayo fusion dance. Corey, you just like Jet Li in the one. With each W kill, you grow stronger. It's true. I forgot that bit of Mango lore. You're certain you were doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude, but are you sure you're not mistaken? I know I'm not. My memories are as clear as day and they were real. During the festival, you weren't at the shrine, and you were doing something somewhere else. Can you definitely prove that? That's right. Thinking it through brought me to this. There was only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday, and that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just some weirdo sputtering nonsense. Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should relax and take it easy for a bit. Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down. You seem a little bit worked up. Why don't I give you a sedative, and it'll help you sleep for a little while? That way, I'm not being strange. Coach seemed to realize I was treating me like a deviant, and he raised his voice. I apologize if I offended you, so please calm down. I definitely did go to the festival. That's the truth. I understand, so please calm down. Take a deep breath. No, you don't understand at all. Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction. I do understand, Maibara-san. You didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? I believe you. I believe you. Coach jotted down some brief note in his records. He was writing it in German, so that his patient would know what he said. Holy shit, he speaks other languages too? Oh my god. But I could make a good guess as to what he wrote. You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at that time, will you? No, I believe you. Please, sit down. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out, and I quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at that time I was... Should I tell him or not? I really didn't want to go living like this. This feeling was horrible. Oh my god, now there's a bunch of German in the chat. I think I can read it. I don't know if I'll know what it means. Axer gut Doctor. Naturich auf Deutsch. And I said them, the final fatal words. Because I was killing Satoko's uncle at the time. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us sharpen. Hey, not bad. Hell yeah. Ich wirst nicht. Nicht? It sounded Scottish. Oi. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us the time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while. You killed Satoko's uncle? Yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Maibara. Don't hesitate. Admit it, with all your strength. Yes. Last night I did it. I killed him. I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank. Why would you? No. That was a foolish question. I believed it was the most direct method of saving Satoko, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets. I see. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that I dug holes, made phone calls, and had my hands full. And then I attacked him, killed him, buried him. It was pouring so hard at the time. In the bathroom at work, but still say hi before they notice him. But stopping to say hi before they notice I'm pooping. Got you. Well, thanks for the info, Cam. Appreciate you being here. Thanks, bud. There was no gaps in my memories, from the late afternoon until it started raining. There was no time for me to possibly have gone to the festival. And those wounds, are they from that? Shut up, Cam. Appreciate you letting us know. It just shows how close he is to you guys. How much he appreciates and trusts you. Like a wild animal. Like, he let you know about his poop. Like, that's a lot of trust. Thanks, Cam. Have a nice poop. It's interesting how it's more important for him to prove his murderous night, even to other person, than to just live, not catched. Guess this is what trauma looks like sometimes. I could use a little less appreciation. It's true. Like, what a dilemma to have. Do you admit that you murdered someone and hope that clears up this really crazy, absurd world where apparently you have a doppelganger? Or do you just go on and be like, oh well, I guess I'll never get caught for that murder? Cam is like when you take a dog out for a poop and they just stare at you while they're doing it. Holy shit. Yes. There's a road through the forest near Satoko's house. I attacked him there, he ran, but I chased him, and finally killed him near the road that leads to town. Is that true? Killing your uncle, it wasn't some fantasy. I could tell Coach didn't believe me, so I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited. It's true. I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it in her uncle's motorcycle into the swamp. I dug a hole, killed him, and buried him. It's the canine form of T-posing. That's oddly poetic. Thanks, Mango. Satoko-chan's uncle drove past you on a motorbike, did he? Then you predicted he'd do just that, and waited? I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day, so I lied to him over the phone to get him to come out. You called him, but your house is so far away from Satoko-chan's. I wouldn't think you'd be able to make it so soon after calling him. I used a phone closer to where I was going to attack him, the one at the school. But my bar-san, it was Sunday. Wouldn't the door to the school have been locked up? A forest ranger happened to be inside for a bit. I slipped by him when I had the chance. After that, Coach grilled me for a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account. I'll believe you. What did What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream. I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences, or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or delusion, if I seemed he wanted to believe me. So, do you think I went to the festival and lost my memory? Coach slowly shook his head. But everyone in class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible? No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone who looked very similar. And given how the group psychology works, everyone just assumed that you had been at the festival. They couldn't have mistaken me. Mion and all the rest, they were spending time with Keiichi Maibara. It was much more than just having mistaken me for someone else. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones. Do you feel guilty at all? It didn't sound like he was criticizing me, and even if he had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so I could return to the peaceful days he had stolen from us. So I planned to forget all about killing him and live my life as usual. Once Satoko's regular smile returns, the one from before he showed up, everything will be over. Any chance that someone witnessed the crime? I don't think so. If someone had seen me, it would have been arrested already. I am a doctor. My job is to save lives, so I cannot make any statements to the effect of condoning taking of another's life. So instead, I will say this. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder. For saving Satoko-chan, I thank you. Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. I don't know what I was crying for. And so for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears. But it's strange. What is? I'm sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened. Depending on the situation, there are many ways a mere unconsciousness can look like a real death of a layperson. Do you think it's possible he was just knocked out? I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in. Can I ask you to reproduce the situation in which you attacked him, Maibara-san? Coach rolled up a Health and Fitness Week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent a bat. Though I may have been lost in my emotions at the beast of the night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung from, and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for her uncle, I reproduced them over, one by one. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the top of his head like this. When I did it, it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I'd cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing this information, using the places I'd struck in the situation at hand to find out the state of the uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he was dead, so I hit him a few more times after he fell. Did he react at all? At first, I sort of felt his body jolting with every hit, and eventually that stopped too. He didn't react at all. Imagine at the end of the discussion, she just comes out, oh my god, that would be awful. That would be, I'd be like, ha, just kidding guys, this is actually the end of the book, Keiichi's dead. And then he spoke. He's dead. There's not much doubt about it. He didn't just look like he was. I can't say much from just your story, Maibara-san, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried the corpse in the mud, and that took you quite a bit of time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried in muddy water for those 30 minutes. If you didn't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what. You mean, even ignoring how hard I hit him, he would definitely have died when I was burying him? That's right. It's possible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes. Impossible. You're right. Or she just comes out with a camera crew like, you just got punked! Holy shit. You're right, but Satoko, she says he's alive. Coach, a doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it all seem more unfair that he would still be among the living. This was just a social experiment? Oh, that would be fucked, wouldn't it? Maibara-san, this is a really horrible idea, but Is it possible that the person you killed wasn't her uncle? Huh? He's right. That could be why it cleared up the inconsistency in my definitely having killed someone but still being alive. There's no way. I mean, we were both at Satoko's house when he was bringing his alcohol inside, and there was a man who stuck out his face at the window and looked. It was him, right? That was Satoko's uncle. Yes, you're not wrong. It was that man. Could she have been more than one uncle or something? Not one that I've ever heard of. It's just him. Could you tell me what he looked like? Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I had killed someone else, Coach began to go thoroughly compare what that man in my mind looked like and what I told the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were all extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. He didn't kill the real uncle? Maybe, but it looks like that's been debunked. You called it, yeah? Did you? Get punked, nerd. It was the uncle, according to this discussion. But he killed another uncle, not the uncle. Ah, yeah, there we go. Whiffit's starting to think now. Getting them weird ideas out there. He killed the uncle, but not the uncle. Could you, well, is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure? Now that you mention it, I've never seen it, but I believe Satoko-chan once said that a long time ago that he had a tattoo of a tiger or something on his back. A tattoo? That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo in the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof that I'd killed the right one. I'm wondering if he really did kill Satoko's uncle, but like how he has a doppelganger go around, so does the uncle. Ooh, there you go. That's a thought. At that moment, though, there was one other thing that would verify this. To go to Satoko's house and see for myself the uncle that had returned to home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and just looking at its back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satoko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet, he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstandings or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind of having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi Maibara had been at the festival despite being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though the faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa. Sorry, a doppelganger? Oh yeah, you weren't here. Let's catch you up real quick, my guy. Alright. So, chapter opened, Keiichi getting out of bed, being like, alright, I'm gonna head to school. I know I'm running a little bit late. It was a long night. We get to school. Everyone's like, hey, Keiichi, whoa, did you have too much fun at the festival last night? And Keiichi's like, huh? What do you mean? And everyone told him different things he had been doing at the festival. And to give you an idea of what the things they were doing, if you remember in the last book, when they went to the Watanagashi festival, you know, they went to each of the food stands and he would rate the food and give a really absurd, obnoxious description. They went to the shooting range and shot down a giant stuffed bear all together. So everyone had basically told him that he was at Watanagashi having fun with them, and he watched Rika-chan's dance, and he clapped. And Satoko didn't get to go because her uncle, she was too scared of her uncle, and so she went back home. And the uncle was there for her last night, instead of being murdered by Keiichi, according to everyone else. He made sure to run toasts. Yeah. They're under a genjutsu. I mean, Ritsu, I love the theories you're throwing out. I love it. I wonder, in case Bluma knows the entire story, how hard it is for her not giving any hints or answers by reaction while reading the comments. It's pretty easy. I have a really good poker face, actually. God, the cars are so loud outside. But I have to have the windows open because it's so nice out. Oh, it's finally fall, guys. Ha! Okay. Right, where were we? I wonder what on earth could have happened. So you're saying Keiichi's got a multiverse? It's a theory we have. There are some different theories floating around I've seen in chat. But basically, Keiichiverse. But basically, Keiichi's like, Doctor, have you ever heard of this happening? And the doctor's like, yeah, there's this German folklore thing where if you see your doppelganger, it means you're about to die. And Keiichi's like, shit, is my doppelganger here in Hinamizawa somehow? I do keep hearing footsteps behind me when I stop walking. A Higurashi... Oh my god. Despite you not going to the festival and killing Satoku-chan's uncle, you were at the festival, and the uncle you killed is alive. None of this makes any sense. When I look at everything that way, it's almost like I'm just having a nightmare, and there's no killer at all. But it's the truth. The sensation as I used my own hands and the bat to bash him again and again. It was no illusion, nor a dream. Coach let out a slow sigh. Then after looking at the clock, got up. Let's go over this all a little more seriously. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get some tea. Clinic's about to close after all. I need to let the other employees leave. Coach stood up and went out into the hallway, leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and the uncle I'd killed was alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of the bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Normally that would frighten a person away, but Coach didn't run. He cried with me. I was glad he did. Hope it's pretty easy to not give hints, not because we're too far from the truth. No, I won't say it, but some of you guys have gotten really close. Like, really, really close. And I'm so proud of you. Big brain lamb chops. But don't worry. I know better. Because, like, spoiling shit, when somebody spoils shit for me, it's, like, the worst thing ever. Because I do like doing it myself and figuring it out. So I'm usually pretty careful about not doing that to... So he's actually... Jesus Christ. I knew it. I love the... I knew it! For the most ridiculous theories. I knew it! Yay, she's so proud of Muffin. Okay, real question. If you see yourself in person, what would you do? Kith. I have a feeling that the first book and this book are connected. That's an interesting theory, Risu. I think that's really cool. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized I really had to piss. Kith. She just like me for real. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across the waiting room. I knew it. You know, now that you mention it, there are a few people who have the same names. Might as well. Just came before we kill each other game. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised about noticing how easy they seemed. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the two doctors. Black tea? I'll make some. Mix in Aberryl or Ravenol. Cover the taste with milk and sugar. He may grow suspicious at the sudden onset of drowsiness. It's possible he may get agitated and become violent. We will handle that. How many male staff are still here? 1 mountain dog, including us 3. What was all this? I think I was already agitated despite what Coach said. What, was that it? Was it all just casual conversation? It only sounded unbelievable to me? Coach said he would bring back black tea and left the room. And then, in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea? Plus, they were getting extra help, in case I thought sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maibara. calm down, calm down. There's no way. Something this stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story. He even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Hinamizawa who would understand. This was... There are signs of fabrications or falsehoods, and his memories of yesterday in particular are completely confused. He can no longer tell the truth from falsehood. It's quite similar to the multiple personality disorder, but as far as how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's an inborn, or perhaps there were some signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying in a mental hospital before he moved here. In any case, I want him to take a quiet nap. The two doctors nodded deeply. I should probably contact Maibara-kun's parents too, though I can't think of what to tell them. Please find his home phone number for me. My eyes, still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he had actually understood, and he had believed what I told him. But now from the other side of the wall, he was bluntly treating me like some crazy person. I believed you. I believed you. I had let my guard down because I thought you were the only ally I had left in this insane night. Was that a lie? All that, about thanking me for Satoko's behalf, were you just pretending in order to keep me placated? Ugh. My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt and no tie came running up. Dr. Irie, it's terrible. They found Takano-san. Takano-san? Wait, where? Well, apparently they discovered her burned corpse in the mountains of the Gifu. She's dead? Takano-san? The men, all surprised, exchanged glances. Dead. Takano-san. Hey, wait, so then does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for her death, that wish was granted? What do you mean, burned corpse? Was it an accident? According to the Gifu police statement, the possibility is extremely high she was murdered. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right. Serves you right. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come, driving up to me, tried to coerce me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. My curse, my wish for her demise, it was fulfilled. Serves you right. Serves you right. Risa-san died, and Takano-san died. What on earth could be happening in Hinamizawa? Don't tell me that this was all Yashiro-sama's curse from this year. Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't Oyashiro-sama, but this was definitely a spell. A curse. I wished for her to die, so she did. If this wasn't just a coincidence, and she died because I wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. You looked down on me with that pity in your eyes. For now, get the black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. I don't think he'll let anyone besides me alone with him. Shit, shit, shit. What do I do? What do I do? Keiichi Maibara. This time I heard a voice of a nurse. Dr. Irie? Oh, there you are. You have a phone call. I'm a little busy at the moment. Just tell them I'll call them back. Who's it from? Mr. Oishi, from the Okinomiya Police Department. Ah, shh. What bad timing. Alright, I'll answer it. Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make the black tea like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take the phone call meant there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink that sedative-infused tea? Or be held down and thrown in a mental hospital? Mumbar. multiple personality Keiichi, right? Takano-san? Yeah. Oh yeah, this 16-beat Law & Order theme is fire. It really is. Mr. Oishi. Not lie, loving it, right? It has such a weird... Yeah, it's very good at making me feel pretty unsettled. I love it. Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If it came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed to my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct like it had on that night. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission viewers began to, and the cells emerged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little beyond there was a bicycle I had taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound to raise the little suspicions I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I'd had on that night I chased her uncle, I unlocked the window and opened it. A cool evening breeze wafted in. I snuck my head out the window and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quickly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath, listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around. Then I jumped into my bicycle and zoomed away. The pedals clattered under the force. Had my bike always creaked like this? Did the pedals always whine every time I pushed on them? My bike wasn't the only thing crying, though. My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rode the breeze and scattered behind me. Ugh. I hate this. I hate this. I'm not the crazy one. Hinamizawa is. How dare they treat me like a madman? Die. Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you. I believed you. Dodging asteroids. 3 pounds of copper in the sun. Oh my god. Keiichi's Ultra Instinct. Oh yeah. I like this Keiichi. It's true. Psycho Keiichi's pretty good. So, was the actual delusion Keiichi just hearing them talk about drugging him? Shine! I guess we'll see what parts of this is illusion or not. I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Reina and Mion's invitation, but the reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane, me or Hinamizawa? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling into the wind? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. The pained wailing of those lost in some kind of rhythm in another world, no longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all this to end up in a world like that. And actually, at about this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Satoko would have gotten her smile back after realizing her uncle wouldn't have come home, and she might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. So what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I'd killed was living like normal, and I had enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it start to go wrong? When? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my home. I had begun to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart, that coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly, was far worse. That I have no allies in Hinamizawa anymore. With that naive thought, that at least I wanted my parents to side with me, I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Yes. I wanted to dig up that man's corpse and get a look at its back. If there was a tiger tattoo, I would know beyond a doubt that was Satoko's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all repetition, all divine punishment, and I needed to make certain whether I'd been successful enough to even deserve to pay the price. Keiichi, that being said, Keiichi's I'm definitely not insane. Vibes are always such a great sign of sanity. It's true also. Very true. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hands was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthlessness, coldness about it. Yeah. It would be dark soon, so I need the lantern too. There would be a little bit of light in the streetlights, but it would get extremely dark. I thought I'd put the lantern here, but I suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. Then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course, on that night, I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. I left it in the place I buried the body. If I didn't go get it soon, it'd be very dark. And then not only would I be able to find the spot I'd buried the corpse, but I wouldn't even be able to find the lantern. It was all over. I need to hurry. In order to fit the shovel in the basket in the front of my bike, I needed to twist and disassemble it. But it looked like there was dirt on the joints, and no matter how hard I pushed it, it didn't want to come apart. After strenuous effort, I realized that I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it with one hand and ride my bike with the other. With the downpour soaking me through, and a shovel in a hand, riding one-handed. It was as if I returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It was more like the night had never ended. The pain of the raindrops striking me was no different from then. The thing that was different was Hanamizawa. The world and nothing else. The rain clouds had already making it dark, and now it was about time for the sun to set. I could tell it was only getting rapidly darker. The straight road leading down to town, in the middle of it, that should be where I buried it. Yes, it was near the streetlight. On that night, too, the water from the downpour was splashing down on the streetlight's overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus I brought my memories into focus. I left my bike in the brush and stepped out into the forest ground, already soaked with mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was the same. Think. And then I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss-covered tree. That's right, I left it right here. If I left the lantern here, then I would have buried him over there. With the sensation of standing in sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my eyes did. I plunged my shovel in the ground. It's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up so it would be softer. I stuck my shovel down in a few spots to test what they'd feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things in relation with each other, and I knew that it had to be here. By the way, speaking of similarities with the first book, do we know who killed Keiichi in the telephone booth in the first book? I'm not gonna be surprised if that was his double. Allegedly, from the report we got at the end of the first book, the report from the police station said that Keiichi had killed himself in the telephone booth. Hi, Jose!
Hi.
You've missed quite a bit. It's true, Jose. You've missed a little bit. Oh, hi, Crustin. Oh, hi. Good thing we buried the uncle in the rain. That's definitely going to make the soft soil much easier to find. Oh, shit. Himself. That's what the police report said. He killed himself. Under here slept that man's corpse. There would definitely be the tattoo of a tiger on his back. But if it wasn't here, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Satoko's uncle wasn't dead than I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. He hung over. It's being killed by your doppelganger count as suicide? I mean, technically, no. But comically, yeah. If this insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder, I wouldn't be able to accept it until I'd killed Satoko's uncle for good. And then, without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That'd mean I'd killed Satoko's uncle. But that would be terribly strange. If I'd killed him for sure, then who was the uncle at Satoko's house this very moment? Impossible. I didn't even know anymore what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I've used the word quite a few times today. If I had to make words impossible fit just for one thing, what would it be? That much was obvious to me. It would be impossible for this crazy world to be real. I shouted, then turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me this entire day. Even just now, an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. No one was actually there. No indications of anyone even. But they were there. Who are you? You've been following me ever since I came to this world. That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange inside-out world. Technically, police would see that it was another person, even in the case of double, so I'd count it as self-goodbye in case you kill each other mutually. If you don't... Yeah, that's true. Toko got multiple uncles? Allegedly, no. Not that we know about. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. Yeah, sorry about your internet, Jose. Shit sucks. After staring into the empty space for a bit, as I bathed in the rain, my illogical anger slipped away. Now, if you and your double kiss, is it weird or not? Huh. I mean, I think it'd feel a little weird at first. Self-cessed? Yeah, like self-cessed. It's weird to think, like, because that's my first thought too, is like, self-cessed never sounded good to me. But I don't know, I don't want to be rude. What an honor for Keiichi to be followed by Yashiro-sama himself. Depends how much tongue. Yeah, that is a factor, honestly. My tension loosened, and a tired feeling reared its ugly head. I tasted this feeling that night, too. The sudden exhaustion I felt from the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed, and I felt everything around me had quickly gotten darker. I couldn't give in to the sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then I stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. It felt exactly the same as that night. The sense of digging a hole on the beach, with the water coming in with every wave. Hey, you finished Factorio? Nice, nice. What day was today? Had I gone back to the night of Watsunagashi? Every strange thought that came to my mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination finally faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set, too. That night, I had feared the worst and gone without using much light. My senses were so strained that I could see even in that darkness. But now, I didn't have any kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern, putting it to the first setting to give off a faint light. Even now, little there was, it was enough. If people wouldn't be able to see it from far away in the rain. I like how this whole part of the story, like, the music is just insanity, not really fear. Right? Like, the little happy notes in this are just like, dip, dip, dip. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. It almost sounds like Animal Crossing. Yeah, actually. It kind of does have vibes of that. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, set it to the weakest light setting, and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex and strange shadowy world created by the intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I had only turned on a light, and it was like that was all it took to make the world look into something else. Let out a quick, tired breath, wiped the liquid, neither rain nor sweat from my brow, then raised the shovel into the air and slammed it in the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounding me ominously all moved at once. Inside my head, something packed in there. Something coarse, but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing around. The silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me. In one of them, a silhouette bigger than the others stepped forward. Good evening! The moon sure is beautiful tonight. The coarseness of my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. The strength in my body left me through my hips, and I crouched down with a splash. Under the sea of mud, I dug myself. Oishi. Oh no, it's Detective Delicious. Bro, what? This dude, right? This fucking dude. Oh my god. He really is here to just ruin our day in this book. Right on time. Here's a corpse officer. I'm proud of myself, right? Yeah, hey, I found this for you. Is that really how you address your elders? You'll have a rough time once you become an adult. It wasn't only Oshi, but 5 or 6 of them in a row, men wearing raincoats. I had no inkling that this many people had gotten so close. It was like, once I turned on the lantern, they just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows. Every single time, for real though. Must have 6 sex or something, right? Please don't mind us. Just think of us as trees in a forest, perhaps. Don't mind them? Yes, pay no attention to us. Please, continue digging your hole. It's very late, and raining very hard. And you're working pretty fervently. We won't get in your way. Please, dig to your heart's content. No, thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, 2 men blocked the route. They stood on either side of me and lifted me up with amazing strength and threw me into the sea of the mud. Feeling Dake just dug his own grave? Bro. Taking bets, I don't think he's there. As I, soaked in the mud bath I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Oshi squatted, picked up my shovel and threw it at my feet. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face. Come. Please, continue. Continue! I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouettes surrounding me, and slowly, I stuck the shovel in the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over. Surrounded on all sides and nowhere to go. But I just couldn't figure it out, no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who could have made the connection between me and this place. Shit. I knew it. She deserved to die. Stopping so soon? Oh, she kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud. Hurry up and dig, please. You really should consider the fact that some of us are standing out here in the rain. Fuck you. If you don't like the rain, then just go home. Oh, she kicked some mud in my face. Work, please, instead of talking. Only people from the red light district do both at once. Isn't that right, boys? The men around him didn't react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh. But when she glared at them, they started mumbling about paying shekels. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night, but if I went even further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken from us. Ever since he showed up in Hinamizawa, things have been odd. Everyone stopped smiling, and the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, even I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked, and I sat down on the spot. How long do you want me to dig? Kids these days have no stamina. Hey, you. At Oishi's gesture, the men pulled out their own sinister-looking shovels. As I watched the daze, one of them grabbed my collar, dragged me out of the hole, and threw me on the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them, dumbfounded, Oishi sauntered over and squatted down to look at me directly. Keiichi Maibara-san, is this a hobby of yours, digging holes on rainy nights? When I didn't respond, Oishi took one of the thin tin buckets he was using to bail the muddy water, scooped up some of it, and splashed the whole thing in my face. The rain's heavy today, too. No matter how wet I get, I still don't understand the appeal. Oishi smiled to himself, then scooped up another bucketful of muddy water. I'll ask you again. Is digging holes on rainy nights your hobby? Who the hell would have a hobby like that? Splash. Oishi hit me with another bucketful of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung. Will there be something in that hole? I've always liked the story, you know, about the old man who could make plants bloom, and Puppy digging his yard for gold. As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it in my face again. What kind of treasure is buried down there, Can't you at least give me a hint? If you want to know, then dig your own time. You fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in muddy water again anyway. Shit, shit, shit. If only you hadn't shown up, the world wouldn't have gone wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Satoko got abused by her uncle. I ended up killing him, and the world went crazy. He was how it all began. Because of this culprit. He splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die. You die too. If I have some strange power to kill someone by cursing them like Takano-san, then you're dead. And it won't be Yashiro-sama's curse. It'll be mine. I'll curse you, and I'll kill you. What a rebellious look you were wearing. Why don't you use this opportunity to teach you a thing or two in that regard? We really do live in a peace these days. When I was about your age, corporal punishment was the norm for everything. Oishi-san. One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Oishi-san over. Oishi tossed the bucket away and turned around with an evil grin on his face. Yeah, what is it? Please, look at this. Acceptance or maybe resignation. I wanted to say to them, so you blockheads finally found it? Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your job to figure that out, right? Come on, prove to me that he's really Satoko's uncle. What on earth? We think it's an old drain pipe. It seems to be connected to the irrigation channel over there. Let's smash the thing. It's not being used, is it? The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly broached another topic. Oishi-san, the ground down here is pretty hard. I don't think anything could go deeper than this. Did we get the location wrong? No. At first it was dumb we felt like this place had been dug up before, but after digging so far, the ground suddenly hardened. We think we've gone down further than the hole that was originally dug. So what does that mean? There was a hole here and someone filled it back up? Is that what you're trying to tell me? This Oishi guy is different. He is. He acts way different in this book. That sucks, Jose. I'm so sorry your internet is being completely poo-poo. We can't expect Yashiro-sama to do all the work, Keiichi probably. Yeah, right? Exactly. What were they talking about? Well, I'm at a loss, aren't you? My Bara-san? Oh, she grabbed my collar and dragged me to the huge hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean. I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me clear it clang against something hard. There's no doubt I'd buried him right here. But I hadn't buried him this deep. I hadn't digged deep enough into an entire drain pipe. So, then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I'd been successful on that night was gone. Gone. Then what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all? And just possessed by the delusion that I'd kill someone? That couldn't be. It was the unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here, he started breathing again. Did he crawl out? Gone back to Satoko's house? Was that it? I'd come here to see whether he had gotten a tattoo or not. And yet, the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I? I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason, he lived and crawled back out. And that was impossible, too. I'm so tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Hinamizawa. Then, I'll kill you as many times as needed. I'll keep killing you until you never show your face to Satoko again. Oshi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually their conversation ended and Oshi came towards me. What did he want to say? What did he want to do? I stiffened, tensing up, and then Oshi just ignored me, like I wasn't even there, and passed right by me. The other men too. They ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually there was no longer a sign that anyone was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. Guess I'll have to do it myself, Keiichi the man. The only one left here was me. Only the sound of the pouring rain filled the silence. Okay, I was worried that was like the halfway marker like usual, and I was about to say, that is the longest chapter. Oh my god. Oh my head hurts. Good. Save there. Hey. What a way to end it, huh? What a good chapter, right? That one's really good. Oh no. Yeah. You guys will have to go. Because I'll be gone next week, but then the week after we can read the next chapter. Are you guys gonna last that long with this? Okay, let's ask this. Was your worries justified? Because like how we killed him in chapter 10 knowing that there was 15 chapters. How excited are you for this to get really fucky? I love this arc. I love this arc so much. Oh my god. Oh, but for real, what in the world is going on? You have so many theories. Oh, I'm excited to hear them all if you want. Oh, I love when you guys have theories. Full gremlin mode, damn right. Theory. It's the cicada's fault. 100%. They burrowed down and ate the body. Mango got it. Pachi, pachi, pachi. Pachi, pachi, pachi. You gotta prepare some more absurd theories for the next chapter. That's fair. That's fair. I was expecting murderers trying to take out each other like 1000 IQ. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people were. But this is so much better. You're gonna be cooking for the next chapter? It's true. You guys got a whole week to try and, like, deduce for yourselves what the fuck is happening. Wasn't expecting the, oops, I guess I didn't murder him. To be fair, right now Keiichi is still under the impression that somehow he did murder him and he is just alive again. Right now that's what Keiichi's mental state is saying. I know I killed him. I know I did. It's weird he got back up, but I guess dead people don't play by the rules here. Charlie and It's Always Sunny meme. Right, exactly. I was just thinking about that one with the red string and shit. Like I said, under a genjutsu. Goddamn Ryusu. Evidence is to the contrary, though. Is it? The bat's gone. Keiichi's covered in scrapes and bruises from running through the trees. Is all the evidence contradicting? Theory. Oh boy. He swapped places with his doppelganger in a parallel universe where things are similar but not the same. Like this time he went to the festival and didn't commit murder. I think it's super interesting how everyone's festival stories line up with the festival from the last book. I think that's a really cool little detail. That bat being gone only means he took it out into the woods. What about his shovel being covered in dirt? What about the ground being soft enough that there was a hole there and was buried up with nothing in it? What about his lantern being near where he buried the body? You guys gonna take bets if he actually committed murder? Mango gets it. It's true. Mango gets it. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch the first book in this chat. The solid plan. Reviewing all your notes. If he got transported to the first arc, then why was the ground dug up already? It's true. Solid point. Solid point. Alright, WeFit thinks that he actually did kill somebody. Why is the Oishi acting so differently if this is from the first arc? Also true. Also true. Oishi is definitely different. This is like... Well, I can't say it's the most aggressive he ever is or will be, but this is definitely a very aggressive version of Oishi. What if someone got rid of the body? And reburied the hole? Where did the body go? But yes. This is your last chapter. You'll have all next week to think about it, though, little lamb chops. But did I see the Zhang teaser? No, I saw you posted something. I didn't watch it yet, though. I will, though. And sadly, I have to not pull on her. I've dedicated my savings to Nouvellette. Daddy. I do remember Oishi did some aggressive stuff in the second arc, but those motorcycle punks. Yeah, but that was to the motorcycle punks to, like, protect Keiichi and the kids. Please watch it. I will. I promise you I will. So yeah. Like, in this one, he straight up, like... He straight up, like, almost broke Keiichi's arm the first time he ran up to him here. Just because he could. Point being, he's done aggressive stuff. True. True. It's not out of character. It's true. But again, he scared off those motorcycle punks. He tried to break Keiichi's arm in the first chapter of this book. He is now, like, actually doing, like, mobster levels of, like, threatening to get answers out of people. So far, the story with each book progresses with being more chaotic and insane. What if Oishi just tortures specifically psychologically for some goals? Oyashi. Oh yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? If Oyashiro-sama is just kind of fucking with people. I like this idea. I like it. I like it. Oh, here's one other point to maybe keep in mind. So Keiichi freaks out every now and then because he thinks he hears footsteps behind him. At one point, he told himself that it was the other Keiichi. I think this is another interesting idea to think about those footsteps. Kind of like Keiichi's personal hell idea. It is cool. Yep, what if Hinamizawa is just purgatory? That's one. That's an interesting idea. But yes, I'll let you all marinate on that. Let me do my quick little announcements, then I'm gonna start wrapping up, because that was, in fact, a long-ass chapter. Yeah, the footsteps. Yeah, keep that in mind, too. I think those are pretty important. Right, so tomorrow, we will be streaming Trick and Treat. It's a cute little... It's not a visual novel. I booted it up the other day to make sure it worked. I misread the, little info about it. It's actually, RPG Maker style. Like Ebe, Witch's House, Misao, Yume Nikki. It's that kind of style of game. It's supposed to be lighthearted and fun, but also when I booted up the game, it did give me a warning about horror. So, it could be interesting. So we'll play that tomorrow for stream. I hope you'll come see it. It's gonna be my last stream for a week, because I'm gonna be gone on a little vacation. Almost mandatory vacation. Anyway. I suspect there's actually another kind of alternate world Keiichi's talking to. Maybe not physically there, but yeah. So we're all selling ideas of other worlds. Something similar. It's a good idea. Did I ever mention that Outer Worlds uses some heart? Very aware. Very aware. What time did you start? I'm working overtime till 2200. I started streaming tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Currently, it is 9:24 Central Standard Time. Runtime is showing 2 hours 24 minutes. Not a long stream. Let me clear that up. Not a long stream, but I was talking literally nonstop and my throat hurts. I am proud of myself, though. I mean, if you go back to the first book when we were reading it, some of those parts were only half an hour long because that's all the endurance I had in my throat. It's weird lore stuff. I don't know. How should I say it? Weird Bluma lore. But Risu was there for some of the very first chapters, and he was like, "You've only been reading a half an hour." I'm like, "I know, and I just don't have the endurance for this." And he's like, "I hope it gets better." I'm like, "I don't know if it'll get better." No worries. When's the one tomorrow? It'll start at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same channel. Same Bluma. Yeah, I guess updates and stuff if there is anybody new. My Twitter is in the description of this video. You go there. There's also a link to the Discord if you go to the Twitter. That's also where I post schedules and my artwork and stuff. Wait, was I mean when I said that? No, you weren't mean. You were generally just being like, "You only been a half an hour. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Just, No, you weren't mean at all, Risu. Cool. One of us. One of us. Hell yeah. Join us. Join us. But yeah, thanks for coming. I saw a couple new people popping up and lurking and stuff. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy Higurashi. It's a very special series to me, and it's become very, very special to the channel. We love it here. You was worrying, to be honest. I know you were, bud. I know. Until next time. Yes, until next time. Alright. Next stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If I don't see you there, I'll see you when I see you. I hope you have a good night, good evening, and goodbye.